pilot side. I'm going to head over to the other side.
Okay.
So you go ahead and hop in. Step on the step there. Pull yourself in. So the first part of the checklist we're going to do here. Yeah, you don't have to worry about closing it right now.
Okay.
So first part of this interior checklist for the walk around, we're going to go through this right here. So cockpit. So the very first thing, actually I'll let you hold this and you can read off the items to me. So very first thing.
It's control lock.
All right, control lock. So the control lock, there's two on the airplane if it was installed. You would have a big one right on top.
Yeah.
And a big red one hooking down to the rudder pedals. As you can see, I can move the controls around freely, so it's unlocked, okay?
Yeah. So the next one, documents.
So documents, we have to make sure there's a big book here behind us, right? You see that?
Yeah.
Yep, and then we'll also be checking in the bag compartment behind us when we get outside too, to verify the rest of the documents are on board. All right?
Then ignition switch.
Ignition switch, so that's the key that says magnetos. You want to make sure that's off.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right?
Avionics master.
That's this switch. You want to make sure that's off. This controls the radios, turns them on and off. You want to
Radio.
make sure it's off.
Like to communicate with ATC.
Correct.
Okay. Propeller.
Propeller. So
Yep.
we're going to take a look, just make sure nobody's around the propeller area.
Yep.
We're not going to be starting it right now. We just want to make sure nobody's in the way, okay?
Yeah. So master.
All right.
Master on.
Master on. So you see that red switch there?
Yeah.
I want you to turn that on.
Now?
Yes.
On.
And that turns the battery on the airplane. Okay.
Okay. So fuel quantity indicators.
So these are the fuel gauges right here, fuel quantity indicators. You want to get a rough idea of what they're reading. So the right side, saying we got about 15. Left side, in between 10 and 15. I'd probably call it about 12.
12.
So in total, we probably have about 27 gallons on the airplane.
Okay. Then avionics master cooling fan.
So what we're going to do is, I'm going to close my door here so it's a little quieter. We're going to turn on the avionics master. When we turn it on, you should hear a cooling fan because these get hot. When you turn on right away, you should hear a fan. So let's listen. There it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's indicator panel.
Yep. So annunciator panel. That's this. We're going to switch it up to test. I want to make sure all those lights come on, and they do. All right.
Yeah. And avionics master.
Turn it off.
Flaps.
So flaps, they are already extended. If they weren't, just move it, and that changes the position of the flaps. So if you look out, you can see them moving.
No.
So we want to have them all the way down for the pre-flight. So make sure they fully extend. And they do. Yes. All right.
Then master again off.
Okay. So master.
On off.
Yep. Turn that off. Okay.
Alternate static source.
That's this. Just want to make sure this is pushed in, which it is.
Fuel selector. Fuel selector.
So down here, we want to make sure that's on both, I believe. So both. Right like
Both
that.
are on.
Yep.
Okay. Fuel shut off.
So fuel shut off. Want to make sure this is pushed in, which it is.
Elevator trim.
So this is the elevator trim. It helps us fly the airplane so we don't have to fight against controls all the time. We want to make sure it goes both ways. So we're going to roll it all the way down first. You can see the white indicator moving.
Yeah.
We'll go all the way up with it now. And then back to the takeoff position.
Okay.
Which is that little arrow right there.
Yeah.
There we are, right there.
The equilibrium. Interior checks.
Okay, so that is the interior checks complete.
Yeah.
And then we just want to make sure the windshield's clean. Like, we can have bugs on it, we just want to make sure we can actually see out of it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop out the airplane. We're going to go quickly do the exterior part.
Okay. Do I need to carry this one?
You know what? No, you can leave that in here. Yeah.
Scan.
I'm gonna grab So I got a dipstick for checking fuel quantity. What's in the tank, and it'll tell us how much is actually in there. As well as this, we're going to drain fuel out of the airplane with this.
Okay.
So we'll put these two things up here for walk around the airplane, do everything in a logical sequence. That way you don't miss anything. So when we come out the airplane, walk back and start here. So this is the bag door. Open it up. Open it up. We're going to make sure.
For storage?
Yep, if you're carrying cargo. We keep our documents for the airplane in this bag.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make sure they are here. Which they are. Good.
What are the documents like?
So, sure.
We have.
So, I'm not going to really take them out of the bag. You can see some of them.
Yep.
This one on top here, just below here, this is the certificate of airworthiness. Probably the most important one.
Yeah.
So you've got a certificate of airworthiness, certificate of registration, the pilot's operating handbook, which is that big bag in the back of the seat, a weight and balance report stating the weight of the airplane, insurance, and that's pretty much the extent of the documents we keep in the airplane. Oh, I like to give it a shake.
Antenna.
Yep. And then we want to make sure.
Yeah.
So this is called a leading edge.
Leading
the front
edge.
of the wing too is also called the leading edge.
Leading edge.
You want to make sure this surface is smooth because air has to flow smoothly over this. Okay.
Okay.
So if there's any like major like chunks taken out of it, air can't go over it smoothly.
Yeah. If like there's hole or anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Right. So you want to make sure like little nicks like this, that's fine, but like a huge chunk of it missing would be bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go around. This big thing here, this is called the elevator.
Elevator.
So this makes the airplane go up and down. So when we pull back on the yoke, push it, we're moving this.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that all our cables are connected here,
Cables.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we'll lift it up and make sure, take a look at the underside, make sure it's not cracked anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we'll come along. This is called the rudder. So the rudder is similar to how a boat's rudder is. It yaws the airplane left and
Left,
right.
right.
Like this.
Yeah.
And we control it using the pedals in the airplane.
Pedals. Okay.
So I'm gonna lift it up, and we're gonna move it right. Make sure the cable is there.
Cable is there.
Yep. And then move it back the other way, so we can see it's moving both ways correctly.
Yeah.
Right. And then in the rudder, you can kind of see. You can see the hinges too. We got one down here, and all the way up there.
Yeah.
I want to make sure they're there. Right. So on this elevator, we have the trim tab. When I was moving that trim wheel, it was moving this. Okay, so we want to lift it up. You can see the attachment here.
Yes.
We want to make sure this whole structure is intact. Okay. All right. The underside of the elevator, once again, it's not cracked. And we'll take a look at the rudder cable on this side too.
Yeah.
It moves both ways properly. Good.
Yeah. Good.
And then we can see the hinges for the elevator here and here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll come back. We'll look at the tail on this side. You can see. Once again, all the hinges are connected. Right? Make sure the fuselage is in good shape here. Antenna. So this is called a flap, what we were moving with the switch.
Yeah.
So the flaps, when they extend the surface of the wing, which in turn generates more lift. But because they go down like this, they also create drag, which is great for letting us slow down for landing and allow us to land at a slower speed than normal, right? So want to give them just a nice light shake. Make sure they're locked in place.
Okay.
Yep. And then we'll take a look under here, right? So everything's connected here. No significant damage to it. The rod for it is there. This is all connected properly, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good flap. This here is called an aileron. We have one on either wing. If this one goes up, the one on the other wing goes down.
Down. Okay.
And if you look inside the airplane when I move this, you can see this moves. Okay. So when this one goes up, that means we're turning right. And you can see inside the yoke is turned to the right.
Yeah.
And then if this one goes down, the one on the other side has now gone up, and the airplane is now turning left.
Turning left.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's very important too. You never put your fingers up in here because you can see
it might. Yeah,
it'll hurt. So you want to make sure the aileron is bolted on properly. Right. There it is. Good. All right, take a look at the edge of the wing here. Make sure it's smooth surface. The light, make sure it's not busted.
Okay.
And then here we go, the leading edge of the wing. This is where you want to make sure this is a smooth surface. No chunks taken out of it. All right. And that's a good looking wing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what we're going to do, we can come down here, take a look at the wheel. The tire doesn't have any major bald spots on it. If it has a small bald spot here and there, that's fine. But what you don't want to see is this whole surface completely bald.
Yeah.
Or if you start to see the treads underneath, that's a big no-go.
Big no.
Okay. And then on this side, you can see all the brake assembly.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure, you can kind of see the brake pad here. You want to make sure you got a toonie's worth of material on there.
Okay.
So,
sorry.
You okay?
Yeah.
I do that all the time, don't worry. If there was brake fluid leaking out of this wheel, do you know what color it would be?
No.
It'd be red.
Red.
So if you see a red paddle under here, you got a problem. All right?
Yeah.
Now, when we're under this wing, we're going to grab this.
Some oil.
We're going to drain some fuel.
Okay.
Why do you think we drain fuel to look at it?
To check.
Yep. And what are we checking? It's okay if you don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. So we check the fuel to make sure it's not contaminated, primarily not contaminated with water, right? Water is denser than fuel. So if there's water, it'll sink all the way to the bottom, and then all the fuel will be on top. So what we do is we push it up into the hole, a little bit comes out, and then we're gonna get all 5 under the wing here. So we got one here, one here.
The fuel is stored in the wings?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Now we'll take a look at it. And you want to make sure you got this blue color. All right, so this is Avgas 100 low lead. And it's got this nice bluish tint, and we can't see any little pocket on the bottom, which means there's no water.
No water.
Right. Now we're going to dump this out. All right. So now, you have to climb up to check the fuel. So I'll show you how to do it on this side, and then I'll let you try it on the other.
Okay.
So what you do, put your hand here.
Yeah.
Grab the wing. You're going to lift your foot up here.
Yeah.
Put your other foot here. It's going to go like this. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the fuel cap off by turning it counterclockwise. And I'm going to put the dipstick in, making sure I put it straight down, because I want to get an accurate reading, right?
Yeah.
So go straight down. Right down on this side, we have about 16 gallons.
16 gallons.
16.
Yeah.
Down. Alright, now we got to drain some more fuel. There's 3 more spots under the engine here.
Under the engine.
So when you're down here, you want to be very careful. Make sure you don't get yourself anywhere near the exhaust. This airplane's engine hasn't been running today, so this exhaust will be cold, but still. Oh, check here, here, and here. Okay, so got good fuel there. All right.
Yeah.
Drain this out. Now we're going to check the oil.
Oil.
So we check the oil, open this little door. Oil quantity for this type of airplane, we need to have between 5 and 8 quarts. So
5 to 8 quarts.
we're going to unscrew it and then take it out. We don't have to take it out all the way. We can see 8, 6. So we can see it's a little over 6, right?
Yeah.
So would you agree with where we're within limits? Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. All right.
6 to 8.
Yep, 5 to 8.
5 to
5 to 8. So we're right within tolerance there. So that's good. All right. So we'll take the dipstick here. And what I like to do is I like to just give the exhaust a little tap. Make sure it's not going to fall off if I hit it, right?
Yeah.
And you know it's solid that way. All right. So keep going along. Make sure the cowling is screwed on. You don't see any missing screws.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at the propeller blade. So propeller blades are wings. They do the exact same thing as a wing does. They generate lift.
Lift. Okay.
So you need to make sure all of these edges
Smooth.
are smooth and you don't have any major chunk taken out of it. If you got a major chunk taken out of this when it's spinning around, the airplane's going to vibrate pretty aggressively.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll make sure too. This is called the spinner. It's the
Spinner.
part of the propeller that's like you can see it spinning.
It has a motor in it.
Not necessarily a motor in it, but when the engine's turning,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's turning this, which in turn turns the propeller blades.
Okay.
Right. So you want to make sure all the screws are in it, nothing's missing. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is I'm gonna move the propeller blade down. It's very important you never move a propeller blade unless you know the keys are out and off. Because if the keys are in and they're on, turning this propeller blade could be enough to start the engine.
Oh.
And that's a bad day.
Yeah.
Alright, so over here, in here, we want to take a look inside. Make sure there's no birds nesting. Birds love airplanes. And then you see this little belt here?
Yeah.
That's your alternator belt.
Alternate.
So you want to make sure that's nice and snug, so that way we're producing power and we don't run out of battery while we're flying, right?
Yeah.
The fortunate thing about an airplane is even if the battery dies, the engine's not going to stop because the spark plugs are powered by something independent of the battery called magnetos.
Magnetos.
And they continuously keep running as long as this is turning. So, all right. And then we'll take a look over here. Same thing, just making sure there's no birds.
Let's see.
All right. I'll make sure this air intake is clear. And then screws here. All right.
Smooth.
And then we'll make sure this little hole is clear. This is called a static port.
Static port.
So air comes in this hole, and it gives us readings for our altitude, our vertical speed. Okay? Very important to have this. All right?
Yeah.
Make sure it's clear. All right. So if you want, I'll let you try hopping up here. You can check the fuel. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
So what you're going to do is left hand here, right hand up here. Put your foot
here.
up, and then lift your other foot up here. Okay?
Yeah. Can you hold this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. There you go. Okay. So, yep. So open it up counterclockwise, and then put it off to the side. So what you're gonna do with the dipstick, just before you put it in, yep, and make sure it goes straight in. Tell me what it says when you pull it out. Oh yes, that way. My bad. Yeah, it looks like it's about 15. It's almost right on the line there, right? Okay, so 15 gallons, good. So put the cap back on and just tighten it. Okay. All right, and then very carefully hop down from there. There you are.
Thank
All
you.
right. So now we're going to go along this wing. Exact same thing, making sure this leading edge is smooth, but there's a couple more things on this wing we need to look at. So first, this is called the pitot tube. Okay?
Pitot tube.
So this tube here has a little hole, and as we go forward, air comes in this hole,
Yeah.
and it's going to give us a reading for our speed, our airspeed.
Airspeed.
So you want to make sure this front hole is clear, as well as where's the hole? You can kind of see it, that tiny little hole right there, right?
Yeah.
That's called a drain hole.
Drain.
So if water goes in this, the water has a place to drain out.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, and then here, this is a fuel vent.
Fuel vent.
So if the airplane is full of gas on a cold night and then it warms up overnight, that fuel's going to expand as it warms up, right? So
Yeah.
it's got to have somewhere to leak out.
Yep.
And that fuel vent gives it a place to leak out. This here, I want to make sure this is clear too. So this is our stall horn. So if the airplane gets near what's known as an aerodynamic stall, this will start to make a squeaking noise to let us know, hey, we're getting close to stalling the airplane.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that's clear.
Clear.
Okay, landing light. This is still part of the leading edge, so you want to make sure this
Yeah,
glass
clear.
isn't broken.
Oh.
Right? So, all nice and smooth. It's sturdy, lots of bugs, but it's smooth.
Yeah.
Right? Good here. Bulb's good.
Indicator.
Remember what this is called?
Propeller.
Not quite.
Wings.
Yeah, it's part of the wing. It starts with an A. It's okay if you don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay, remember, this is called the aileron. Remember, there's two of
Aileron.
these on each side.
Aileron.
Right? When we move this, the airplane's going to roll left and right. So
Okay.
we want to make sure it's moving properly
Yes.
with the yoke. If I push it up, it should come towards me. It does.
Aileron.
Okay. And then check, make sure it's all connected.
Yeah.
All right. We'll check the flap. Shake. Good. All connected there. Very good. So we'll check the wheel. There's a good example of a bald spot. That's okay though because it's pretty small. All right. So wheel's good. No brake fluid leaking. No damage to the lines, and the brake pad looks good. So we'll drain some fuel from under here.
Yeah.
So you grab that. And I'll let you give it a shot. So I like to start from the inside of the wing and go out. So start from here and just push it up. And you don't have to get a lot in there. Just get a little bit. So push it up. Just a little bit. Let go.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So get a little bit from there and let go. Because you want to make sure you can fill it up with all five. So you don't have to
This
empty
one?
out beforehand. Yep.
Here.
Yep. All right. And then one more just behind your head there. All right. Okay, good.
It's full.
So is that the right color?
No red. kind of bluish.
Right. We want it to be blue though, right? We
Yeah.
want that light blue, and we can't see any water in the bottom there, so that looks good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's pour that out. And then that concludes the walk around. So,
Just like that.
yep, just pour it out. There you go. All right, good. And then we'll put this away. Okay. So,
Sticks.
yep, we're gonna put that back in the airplane, right?
Airplane, okay.
So it just goes in the back of the.
Okay.
Airplane.
Yeah.
Is made. So keep your door open for a second there,
Yeah.
just because it's easier to get the seatbelt on with the door open.
Okay.
So your seatbelt.
Yeah.
We're gonna take our start times here. Today is June 15th.
15.
So 55.7. When we start the engine, we take the note of the hops time. This runs whenever there's oil pressure, and it basically tells us how long we go.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Here. Magnetos.
yep, so I'm going to reach over and put that in. Okay. Alright. Alright, propeller. Clear! Clear left, clear right. We want to give that good shout clear.
Yeah.
So people know we're going to be starting this engine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go.
Can I pull this out?